Welcome to the GGW Fair Game podcast, and it's nice in here today. Lauren and I are partners in crime again.
I love it. It's my favorite.
It's kind of fun. It's very cozy, the two of us. So we're super excited to be back with another edition of Casino 101, but we're gonna mix it up because that's what we do. So today's Casino 101 is going to be all about people. So we wanted to kind of say like, hey, Casino One segment's supposed to be about the different departments and what kind of each casino has going on, right?
Like, what is a casino?
Yeah, and who's doing all this casino stuff? Who are these people? So we wanted to do kind of like an HR episode, but really not like too HR-y, no offense to HR people, but something more about like personalities and the people that you work with, right? Because we get a lot of feedback from GGW members that a lot of what's going on inside the casino is just how you work with people. So
when you spend so much time of your day with these people,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and they're all so different. Yep. Love that. And so we're going to talk about all kinds of personalities today, and we have a legendary guest. I'm not going to spill the tea early, but very excited to have her in studio. So not going to steal the thunder on that one, but really the big piece of what we wanted to touch on today is really like we said, HR, but there's a couple pieces of HR. So just to kind of give you an example, most HR functions are going to be about how do I hire people? How do I retain people? That's a big one. And then, you have like benefits and things like that, which is all very interesting, I'm sure. But a lot of it is about how do I make my casino appealable, right? For people, how do I make this environment and this work culture appealable? So I'm sure we could have stories for days on our our history of appealable employers before. But I think that's what we're really going to focus on today is just really what kind of personalities make that up. And again, just for a high level stat, 1.8 million people in the U.S. are employed by casinos. So massive. And we talk about that a lot on these episodes because I think it's really important for people to realize we're doing this for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like this is a broad audience, right? Whether you're tribal, whether you're manufacturing, whether whatever, it's so many people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, and you think about how many people that is. It's actually so many different personalities, and trying to figure out how those blend and how you make an appealable environment with those people. That's a fascinating topic. So this is exciting.
Like books and stuff on that, right?
Oh, there's got to be.
Yeah. All right. Well, we didn't read any books, but one big stat we did want to talk with, right, is AGA employee survey notes one of the most important things for an employee retention. This is like noted in their surveys every year is enjoying who they work with, right? Because if you don't enjoy who you work with and you don't feel welcome, you don't feel, inclusivity to what the environment is, you're like bounce, I can go somewhere else, right? A lot of opportunity in you don't have to go out of the industry. There's so much opportunity in the industry, obviously. So,
well, I think it goes back to what I was saying before. You spend so much of your time with people that you work with, getting along with people and finding that vibe. Like that's really important. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Like we're probably the people filling out these surveys, which makes sense, right? Yeah. Another huge stat that we love to drop, and I thought this one was really interesting because it's industry specific, is that our industry offers opportunity to start at a ground floor and work their way up like no other industry. So you think about the people that start working, I'm a marketing events specialist, right? And I all of a sudden, hey girl, that's you.
Yeah.
I didn't even plant that.
Marketing specialist. Wow. That was me.
That's amazing. You're like a cool story then. But yeah, I think that's a great example. Someone like my friend Lauren here who said, hey, I'm going to give this, early in my career, I'm going to give this casino thing a try, right? And then you get to try a bunch of different stuff and you grow yourself by learning about the whole industry and learning your thing. I love that. And it's very different. Like you can't start out as a lawyer, small lawyer, and go to big lawyer and try a bunch of stuff, right? You're just a lawyer. I don't know, I'm making that up. But the idea is this industry is unique in that aspect and offers a lot of opportunity. And I think we're going to hear a lot of that story today from our guests for sure. We could probably tell a lot of stories too, but super exciting. Our guest today brings, I'm not going to name years. I'll let her do that.
Yeah, let her tell her epic story.
Exactly. But she's been through like what seems like every department in the industry and she's been through manufacturing. Now she's on like a bunch of different stuff. So I'm going to let her do that. We can't wait to hear some more stories. But really, it's all about personality today. So we're going to put on our personality pants and fancy blazers and talk about people and probably get a little real. Because working and like you said, if you don't enjoy your job and who you're around, it can get difficult. So it's gonna be a fun interview. I'm excited.
I appreciate your earring game today.
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
The bigger the better. That's what
Yeah.
I say. I scared everyone when I walked in. They were like, "What are you gonna do with these?" I said, "I don't know." All right, let's get to it. So we're gonna introduce Eileen Moore Johnson, who is our guest today in studio. And we're in studio. Welcome, Eileen Moore Johnson. I kind of named you as a legend, so
No,
I'm
not kind of. You did.
I totally did. Yeah,
You put it out there.
I fangirled. We're gonna let Eileen tell us a little bit about her history, just because I think it would take me forever. So give us a little bit of your rundown about kind of where you've been and where your career and everything.
Absolutely. So I woke up today and I realized I've been in this industry for 35 years, in the hospitality
incredible.
and gaming industry. Thank you. And I spent most of that time at Caesars Entertainment. So I spent 21 years at Caesars. I worked in their corporate office on corporate strategy, revenue management, corporate gaming, and then I got into property operations. That was about half my career. And my last role with them was 7 years as regional president here in Las Vegas, running 4 resorts on the Strip, a $1 billion division, 7,000 employees, 24/7, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And then I went on to Scientific Games as their chief human resources officer in the middle of a global pandemic. So
No
some
big deal.
might call me a bit different, but I loved it. And so today, walking in the building here at Light and Wonder, it feels like an awesome homecoming. To see what that team has achieved and their evolution is just spectacular. But 2 fantastic, great years of my life. And then more recently, I'm semi-retired. And so everyone goes, what's the semi about? So I'm a strategic advisor. I work here in town with the Vegas Loop, which is the Teslas and Tunnel project. That's fantastic. Just hit 2 million passengers in town. So super proud of that team. And they also work with Movo, which is a human capital management app that's designed specifically for frontline workers. So huge application in resorts, cruise lines, restaurants, and the like, and certainly gaming. And then I sit on a couple of public company boards, including Selena Hospitality, which is a company that has 120 properties around the world.
I thought you said
Semi-retired.
semi-retired.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm loving it. And tons of free time, which really has been doing travel and leaning into my family. I have a blended family with my husband, Richard. So I have twin stepdaughters who are 22 that just graduated college. And one of them has moved here, and we're so thrilled. So she's just starting her career here in Las Vegas. And then I have an 18-year-old son who's going to be a senior in high school.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, lots
Sounds
to
like you're
spend my
staying
time
busy. Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. I love
Always.
that.
And hats off to you guys. I'm a big fan of the podcast. So
thank you.
When I was asked, I am super honored. And I think the lessons you guys have been sharing are just pearls of wisdom that everyone can learn and grow from. So thank you for everything you've done.
That's like an honor. I'm honored.
Yeah,
Thank you so
I'm
much.
I know.
Thank you.
I got goosebumps. We're super excited to have you, and not just because you are a legend, originating GGW board member and bringing it all together. Like, I know Lauren and I spent a lot of time with Lean In for the last 5 years of our lives, so thank you for starting that.
Yes, thank you.
But so much too, because you bring so much personality to your role, and so many people talk about you and how you led and how impactful it was to them. So we're going to throw it back a little bit and
Okay,
talk about
let's go.
earlier in your career, kind of what was your personality like and how did you interact with people? Just knowing kind of your personality now, were you similar? Were you different? Like, how did it start?
Yeah. So I would say, my first jobs were 15. It took me 3 jobs to realize at 15 and a half, I got a hotel job and knew that was it. I was hooked. So I knew my industry out of the gate was going to be service and hospitality. At 16, I became the dining room supervisor at the hotel. So
16.
And I was in charge of college kids. So imagine that. So I guess what I would say about my personality is super bossy.
Yeah.
Like, no
But it worked.
problem
Yeah.
getting orders, taking feedback, working with people. So there's probably some things. Growing up, I had a dual working household with my parents. My dad worked in the hotel industry in Chicago. My mom worked for United Airlines. So I had some great role models about hospitality and to be of service. And I think I just got hooked by the industry and then never had a problem having a voice. I had those great role models at home that supported me. Not every kid was working at that age. And I put myself through school, so very big self-starter and believed in that. And over time, just kept a really big growth mindset about who I could become. And I didn't have a lot of barriers placed on me, luckily, through family in those early interactions. But I would say bossy.
Yeah,
Never dropped that.
We use the
No,
word
no, no.
fierce.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I think
fierce.
that's appropriate.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Fierce is more appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boss lady.
Oh,
I had
boss lady
customers call
works.
me boss lady.
You
In fact,
own it. That's for
They would
sure.
buy me shirts, the boss lady. So I'm like, okay, I like it.
So, like, what did you learn early in your career, and how do you continue with others, like, about working and like just successfully? Like, how did you share that message? And
Yeah, thank you, Lauren. I think one of the biggest things was learning to listen more and talk less. Because I'm naturally a talker, so I love to talk, and so I could fill a lot of space. So over time, seeing when you are quiet and you open up your ears, there's an old saying that says we have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
yeah,
Love that.
So you should listen
Listen.
twice as much, at least, probably more like 4 times as much. And it's a skill. It's hard to do, especially if you're talkative or inquisitive and you want to learn. But doing that, I really was able to cut across a lot of different cultural backgrounds, learn so much. You can get such deep understanding of people and what makes them tick, then you're going to have a much greater relationship at work. And you're not going to take things as personal. You're not going to have a lot of judgment. You're just going to stay curious about it. So I think that's one huge one for me. Another one was always staying humble. I had a lot of good fortune in my career. It came on the back of a lot of hard work and some results, but I was recognizing and grateful that I had those opportunities. So always making sure my team did. I wanted to develop them to grow. I actually, even though I had a lot of professional success, I got more joy out of seeing other people succeed. So I think having those lessons grounded me in, hey, everybody should be respected and treated equal. They all have something to value and to bring to the table, and that I could value as well.
I love the lesson in the listening, because there's a saying, it's like sometimes the smartest person in the room is the most quiet, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a lot of truth in that statement, because you're listening and you're absorbing so much information in a room. I think you can really learn a lot. So I think that's a really powerful message.
Yeah, not only that, I think your ability to be bossy, and I love that. Don't get me wrong, we're like there right now, but bossy, but listen, because a lot of people, right? It's a lot of people want guidance, but they also want to talk and they want to tell you their experiences and share with you, and then you help guide them to the next thing. So I think that balance is probably one of the things that made you most successful too, because it sounds like you figured out how to do that for other people, which is awesome. So
people want to be heard.
Yeah.
You actually triggered a story for me. I'll tell a quick one.
Yeah, I love it.
As I told you, I like to talk. So when I was down in New Orleans, it was my first head of operations job, and that was one of the largest gaming operations in the company. So very daunting. And although I had done corporate gaming and strategy work, I never ran a gaming operation, and I didn't come up through that side. I came up through hospitality, food, and beverage. So I came in, and I sat down with these 2 new leaders who were working for me, and they were experts in their craft. One who's already been on the podcast, who's famous, is Tasha Toussaint, and the other is Lee Howard, who's amazing. And I sat down with them at our first meeting. I said, listen, I need you guys to do one thing for me. And they're like, yes, what do you need? I said, please keep me from looking dumb. And they both were gobsmacked and just kind of
like I am right now.
that's my new job. That's amazing.
Wow.
And they were like, wow, Eileen, we've had a lot of leaders come and go from this property. I arrived after Hurricane Katrina, so because you managed, there was a lot of turnover, particularly at the top. So new AGM, and the first thing I tell them is, your job is to keep you from looking dumb. Well, we had a laugh, and then we talked about it. I said, listen, I don't know what you guys know, so I need to perk up my ears and listen and learn from you. Now, I am a good leader. I'm here to remove obstacles, and we're going to grow together, but I need you to know I'm not the expert. I've got a lot of ideas, but I need you guys to ground me in reality and not just be telling me what you think I want to hear. I want to know the truth, and I want to hear your opinion.
Yeah. That sets this tone so much.
Yeah, it shows how strong of a leader you really are when you can be that vulnerable.
And admit,
Yeah.
I don't know everything, and I'm not the smartest person in this room. You 2 are. Unfortunately, you have to report to me. But we're going to grow together and get there, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're both going to learn a lot. And that's exactly what happened.
But you also made it about a team, right? You didn't make it
Yes.
about just you. You didn't make it you made it about a team, and you're progressing your team forward, and that's a lot.
That's
too.
what a lot of
Yeah,
people want to hear,
powerful.
right? And be part of that. So that's awesome. And not to Not to go too deep, but I love the South, and that's one of my favorite areas. And I'm so curious to hear some of your stories about, because I know you've worked in a lot of different regions. So, because I know the South, Midwest for sure, and then obviously big Vegas. But culture has so much to do with personality and kind of how you handle people, and especially moving around to those different sort of cultural hubs. What was that all about, and how did that go?
Yeah, I mean, both on the hospitality side and gaming, I moved 10 times as an adult, which is something I'm really proud of. So your ability to adapt to different cultures and backgrounds, being open, but I also saw the beauty of diversity and how it is a major advantage in teams, because it's all about the teams, to your point, Lauren. And so for me, the funny lesson that I learned in all those moving is there's things that didn't change. My employees needed the same things from me. They want to work for a caring leader who takes care of them, makes a great work environment, cares about them, sees them and hears them, and values them. The guests, it's the same thing. So certainly in a frequency market, you're going to see them. It's their country club. They're there every week. You're going to get a lot more feedback. I call it micro feedback, constant. But guess what? They like great restaurants, good shows, good service, clean casinos. Great games, a chance to win. It's the same thing in the destination markets as it is in the locals markets. You're just switching up that frequency. So a lot of the keys to my success about leaning into people and the people side of the business got me where I am and really had a great time doing it. So it was a lot of fun.
It sounds like you've led with empathy, right? I think that's really important, is that you just really understand people and you dig into what people need. And that was your first and foremost priority, is just leading with empathy and people. And it just sounds powerful to me.
Yeah, I would tell you, Lauren, too, I probably had more early in my career. I was really lucky. By the time I made manager level and moved up, I was with these great organizations I've mentioned, some previous organizations that I did not mention. I had bad bosses. And so you learn behaviors. Like, I don't ever want someone to feel that way. So I think to your point about empathy, I had a couple of instances. I had a boss who used to yell at us frequently, would lock us in the office and smoke and blow smoke in our face. That's when you could do that stuff. It was against the law. I mean, that's how old I am. But you learn that and you're like, I feel 2 feet tall. I never want to make another person feel not their full self. And so I think that empathy drove. And then the other thing I learned is have fun. I was telling Kate the other day, it's like, this is an entertainment industry. One of my lines that people used to quote back to me was, we're not doing open heart surgery today, folks.
Yeah.
We're throwing a player party, and it's going to be fun, right? I mean, we have to put this in context. But a lot of people take it so serious, they don't have fun. So at one point at Caesars, we would pod our properties up. So the 4 I ran, we had a reputation where we actually called us the fun pod. And I know they were saying it kind of to tease us, but I loved it. I was like, let's own it. So, I mean, we would do lip sync battles in the lobby, and the guests were our judges. And a couple of guests were like, why isn't this in the showroom? Can I buy a ticket? So we did that once a year.
Oh, my God.
That's so fun.
Yeah. My GM, Sherry Pucci-Sosa, danced with Donnie Osmond in the showroom, and we did it for charity, and guests came. I mean, it was just like, why not have fun? One day I surprised the team with baby goats, and we did baby goat yoga.
Oh, I've always wanted to do that. We should go do that.
Yeah. I would do sound bath, meditation, and healing. Like, I think we lock ourselves in these boxes and don't realize, boy, does that change a mood. Same thing. If we had a setback, but then a big team win, I would order champagne. We did champagne toasts, also allowed back at that time. Today, I don't know how many champagne toasts people are doing. But, it switches the mode. When you come in and everyone passes around, and I'd have some non-alcoholic as well, and you go and you toast with your team, that's really fun, and it surprises and delights your employees. So if you think about it as, I'm here for guests, and that's the main driver, but I also need to take care of my team members because they vote me in too. Employee satisfaction surveys, a lot of careers are made or broken on those, so they're voting for you too. So take care of them.
Well, I sold games to your pod, and I told Tasha this, and I'm disappointed I never got to see the lip sync battle. Very disappointed. But I can tell you that the vibe, I enjoyed coming to your properties because the vibe there was so much more welcoming than a lot of the others. So I may not have witnessed the lip sync battle, but I did witness some of the repercussions of what you did and how you did it. So
and how people felt. Thank you. And they could bring their authentic selves, right? Like if you're out there putting it out there in front of guests and all your team members, and you're the head of finance and you do that, you're scared to do that, right? It's a big risk. But afterwards, how you connect with your team members because they see your humor, your connection, and who you are, it's invaluable.
Yeah. You've humanized kind of like the managerial style, I think, just based on what you said, right? And a lot of that is these people are looking to you. You create a vibe that it's okay to be yourself, and
yourself.
it's okay to have fun. Guess what? We're here to do a job. Yes, we're gonna focus up, but at the same time, there's no reason we have to sit around and be stuffy about it, right? Let's have all enjoy the team effort to get there, which is great. And I think some of your stories really resonate about people making people feel special. So that's going to be my next question to you, because I'm super intrigued by the idea of how many, at one point you said like 7,000 people, right?
Yes.
Like 7,000 people work for you.
10,000 at Scientific Games at that time. Yeah.
Small towns worked for you, basically, right?
Yeah, I was the mayor for sure. That's how I likened it. Because everyone goes, hey, it's 24 hours, 7 days. We don't have locks on these doors.
Right. They're just calling you, right? So how do you, because once it gets to that sort of number, people can be overwhelmed, right? And they kind of lose the ability to maybe have that fun vibe and connect with people. So how did you at that point kind of keep this idea of keeping people special and making people feel appreciated and valued with that many direct reports?
Yeah, I think I'll go back again to those early career lessons. You know, luckily for me, like on the resort side, I had done a lot of the line level jobs that I was now supervising. And so I remembered those jobs being very difficult and also very meaningful. And so when I approached people, it didn't matter what they did. You know, one of the things I was most proud of is we would do walk-a-whiles, which many companies do. And at the Flamingo, they said I was the first president to ever scrub a toilet.
Oh, wow.
I was the first president to unload a bell cart. I was the first president who donned the security officer uniform and went and reacted to a crisis situation. So those types of things, when employees see their leaders treating them with that respect and knowing, since I was a child, you're not better than anyone else, and that everyone needs to be treated with respect and is playing a role here to make us all successful and win, that's important. And I did do a lot of team sports. So to your point, Lauren, I think about that teamwork and knowing that there's a time to shine and be the star, and there's a time to sit back and let others shine. Like, that's just huge lessons that stay with you. And those cut across all businesses, not just gaming, but any business career. I find a lot of people that had those lessons on the team side and understand that, and they stay competitive and hungry, but also know what it means to be a part of a team. They can be really successful in business.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a lot, just you walked in their shoes, which people talk about how important that is, and kind of what that sets from a level of respect. Those people see you, and not only, you know, are you garnering their respect?
Yes.
But, and that's,
She's been through what I'm going through. She understands, right?
Yeah. One of them put on the bell captain hat or whatever.
We would all the time. And that's how you learn things too. I mean, one time we did a kitchen back-of-house exercise, and I do think, and when I was in college, one of the hardest jobs I ever had was washing dishes in the machine. Everyone goes, oh, you did a manual. No, with the machine. The machine is like daunting, it's dangerous, it's difficult, it breaks a lot. And in a walk-a-while, I learned one of our highest volume venues their dishwasher had been broken. Well, no, you know, the food and beverage leader, we had too many layers. He didn't even realize. So when I found that on a walk-a-while, you can bet that went to the top of the capital list, and you're always making trade-offs, because I'm like, you cannot do that kind of volume manually. So the things that they were doing to make that operation still just run, people were really physically putting themselves in a lot of risk, frankly, to be able to do that. So it helps with that, you know, again, getting down deep and finding out what's really going on, especially at these massive resorts when you have thousands and thousands of employees.
Yeah, and frankly, I love the idea of your walkabouts and your kind of, you know, and I know a lot of large retailers do that now, right? Spend a week in, you know, taking host duties, right? Good luck with that.
I did have a guest, actually. This is a great story. Another New Orleans story. I love New Orleans. So I was a dealer, so I put on the whole gear, and I, as a player, love to play craps. It's one of my games I've always loved. And so I'm like, I want to deal craps. And, you know, Tasha's like, Eileen, can you deal craps? I'm like, I can play craps. She was like, be careful. So she goes, don't do the box person and then the stick person, but maybe you'll be the observer and then be on the end. And okay, our dealers, you know, you're shadowed. I was like, don't let me lose my key gaming license in the state of Louisiana over this. She's like, no, you shadow. Well, we were there. A customer, I was so slow at the process because, again, it is a ton of work. And I didn't have the muscle memory now that I was on the other side of having to do all the calculations and payouts and everything, and asset protected, all of it. And the customer leaned over and he goes, dealer, you suck. And I went like this, and all of the crew stepped in and said, that's our AGM. Don't you yell at her. She's trying her best, sir. They all defended me. And I just started laughing. I said, you know what, sir? You're right. I do suck. I was like, let's get him a comp. He should never have had to put up with my incompetent self. And so it was actually hilarious, right? And then that became a story, right? That all the dealers told the rest of the shift that this happened. So again, having fun, staying humble, and also with guests. If you mess up, I never told guests, oh, cover my tracks usually. No. If you do something wrong, you take care of it and make it right.
Yeah, I love that you learn everything too. That's a lot of what we tell people here. Like, get in there and learn it, right? You may completely mess it up, and you're going to probably look a little crazy every once in a while. But the more you learn, the more you're going to be able to grow, and the more you're going to be able to relate to other people in those other roles and kind of grow yourself. So
It's true.
I know I'd be terrible at craps. How about you?
I never did it again at one shift.
I'd
My
be
craps
awful.
career was
I don't even
over.
get it. Like, I've been and I watch them, and I'm going, what the hell is going on?
No, we would not be good at.
Yeah,
That's not
no.
for us.
So you already have one up on us.
Yeah.
I think my tipping to craps dealers got much better after my experience. I was always a decent tipper anyways, but I was like, I think I upped it, especially in that game.
I can only imagine. I think so. One of the things we wanted to talk to, we've talked a lot about business, and you have been personally successful. I mean, you're talking about these boards and all these things that you're doing, and I want to get kind of like a little personal, because I know on the podcast we relate a lot about how business success. What can you do to raise yourself in business? But let's flip that around a little bit and kind of what your personality has done to make you successful in your personal, and kind of how you've garnered all that together. I think would be a really great story for everyone.
Yeah, I think, and you touched it at the top of the podcast, but one of the seminal moments for me was reading Lean In, the book. I was very fortunate. I'm in a group called Young Presidents Organization, YPO. Sheryl Sandberg is a member, the author of that book, and at the time, Chief Operating Officer of Facebook, now Meta. So we got advanced copies. And in that, then Sheryl trained us. I did mine via Zoom. This is back before I even knew what a Zoom was. But she put a tremendous amount of her own personal wealth, her and her husband, to do the Lean In book, the movement, and start Lean In circles. So one of the things that's really cool, and big credit to Caesars, we were the first corporate Lean In circle in the world. And now there's been thousands of Lean In circles in 180 countries. And I verified this with Sheryl herself, because my original Lean In circle was founded in 2013 at Caesars, and we still meet. So 11 years later, we do our retreats and our meetings. So when people say, how have you gotten ahead? It's by having that personal board of directors. So then a few years into my circle, my really good friend and other fellow founding member of Global Gaming Women, Holly Gagnon, came to me and said, Eileen, I really want to start these Lean In circles for the industry. I said, let's do it. And then over the pandemic, I found out how many women were in circles and what happened at a sip and social. I mean, the stories that they told me, I actually choked up and teared up. So I am more proud of anything in my career is founding those circles and seeing what it spawned and what it's become for women. And it's certainly been a key to my success, because you're not getting advice. You're with another group of women. As women, we carry a lot and we hold a lot of wisdom, but we need our safe spaces too to talk about what's going on in our lives, professionally and personally, and having that feedback and shared experience is huge. It can move mountains for sure.
I think Lauren and I can both thank you, because I think we're also success stories, circle success stories. And it's brought a lot of women that get into GGW now think, oh, I'm going to get in this circle and I'm going to learn so much. And a lot of it ends up being very personal experience and sharing, a lot more about yourself than your job in these circles.
Yeah.
And so it's been really impactful for hundreds of women. We can vouch for that.
I love that.
Yeah.
And listen, I've had women approach me. Another question I get is, when's it right to leave your circle? Just because my circle has been meeting for 11 years and it's been everything, that doesn't mean that's every case. Get in a different one. I certainly have other personal circles. Holly's in a personal circle of mine. So is Ann Hoff. I have people across industries that I meet with. We call it forum, but they're in my other groups. So having multiple personal boards of directors are amazing. And the reason why I say it's personal is it has to be in a safe space where it's confidential and you have that trust between the groups. Another one that is huge, I'm really excited about, and I know GGW has also been spreading the word, is there's a new book called Now Near Next by Dr. Cynthia Benson Mercer and Kimberly Rath. And I read it in about a 2-day period. It was fantastic. So I highly recommend it. And what they talk about, particularly for women using research, is how to get unstuck. And I saw this in my own career. I've seen this with other friends of mine, and in particular women. But I actually believe the book could apply for anyone who may be stuck. But it really challenges you, and in a couple ways. One is to silence that inner critic, right? We talk a lot about imposter syndrome, but we all have an inner critic that's too loud. Silencing that inner critic, and then stop playing to the worst result. I constantly am talking to friends, particularly my female friends, and it's like, this is what's going to happen. I'll ask for a raise and I'm fired. And then I go, does anyone know anyone who's ever asked for a raise? And the result was you were fired. And right, I've asked 1,000. They go, one person go, oh yeah, one time. Okay, well maybe you're getting fired anyways. That's usually not how that goes. I was a head of HR. That's not how that conversation goes. You might get told no, or you might get told yes. So why are we playing to the worst outcome? I said, how about you play to the best outcome? Yeah. And these authors talk a lot about this in Now and Your Next, in plotting what's your next move, how do you get unstuck in your personal and professional life. And so why not think about that best outcome? And then, hey, what's the expected? And start playing to that. I just think you start to make some bigger moves and become a little more comfortable with the risk. And the uncomfortable is when you're going to have those biggest breakthroughs.
I think a lot of women in our industry are definitely risk averse.
Yeah.
We hear that story a lot.
Yeah. And I think women sometimes have more to risk. So I'm not trying to negate that it doesn't seem as daunting as it is. It is. But there's a way to do it and make an educated guess about what it is you want to start. And you can start slow and do it a little bit at a time. We don't have to, move the mountain overnight. And those incremental steps are what's going to push us forward.
I was going to say, I think a lot of that comes with experience, right?
Yeah.
You do it once and then you realize, oh, well, it wasn't so bad.
Yes.
I can do this again, or, I can take the next bigger risk and I can take another step. And I think once you start to feel it, it's okay to go and spread that message and tell people it's not so bad. Don't look at the worst, look at the best.
Yeah,
I love that.
You're going to fail every once in a while, right?
Yes.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah,
Walk away from it with a lesson learned and,
Yeah.
and churn that into something that says, okay, well, I know I don't like that, or I know I'm not good at that. Let's try something new and do that. So I think that's a great lesson, especially for newer in career women who are coming in. And this can be a very interesting, we talked about a little bit the history of what this industry's perception is. And it takes a lot of confidence and sometimes to put yourself out there, but most of the time, like you said, it's well worth the effort.
Yeah.
And we would recommend that to any, whether it's on this podcast or anything GGW related. So
100%. You triggered one more.
Oh,
because if I leave and I don't say it, because
please,
I'm really
do it.
I'm going to get on, what did they say? You're up on your soapbox. Yeah. Negotiate everything.
Yeah.
Negotiate everything. I have had thousands of employees, probably across my career, hundreds of direct reports. I have noticed a trend along gender lines, less negotiating. And it's interesting because the science actually says, it's been proven, there are studies that women are better negotiators, but when there's one condition, when we're negotiating on behalf of someone else. So for an organization, for a client, right, and it makes sense, because if you think about some of the careers where women have always been highly successful, that makes sense, right? So the advice I've been giving is negotiate. You're not just doing it for yourself, for your own personal family and wealth creation. You're doing it for other women. You're doing it for your organization. You're setting the trend. You're pushing the envelope. You're getting uncomfortable. And you don't know if you don't ask. And again, you'll get a lot of no's, but you get more comfortable getting those no's and you build that competency. And sometimes we think it's all about salary. It's not. There are other things that could make your life more fulfilling. And so just even asking, sure, it could be no. But now you've also placed it in someone's mind that that's what you're going to be looking for. And so there's a lot of good and ripple effect that can come from that down the road. So sorry, that was my other thing.
No, that was great.
Negotiate everything.
I'm glad you threw that in there. I think that's really important. That was
And
great.
honestly, we hear about negotiation quite a bit. We ask GGW NIM members, what are you interested in? What can we help you with? And a lot of it, I think we touched on, how do I get the support, whether professionally or personally?
Yeah.
How do I fight for myself, right?
Advocate, yep.
Being such an important part of building that self-confidence. So I think a lot of what you've been through and in, legend status, obviously, for all of us, but being, and they always talk about breaking those barriers and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you guys have really led that for us and showed, you set the tone for us. You negotiated for us, and that's why we're sitting here, and that's why we're having this conversation. And us doing this will then, do that for someone else. So,
and it takes, you got to stick with it. It took me 8 tries before I got my first role in operations. And really, the story is Hurricane Katrina hit, and there was a management team that was relocated out of New Orleans, and a lot of them did not want to go back because it was so traumatic. So that was my first opportunity. So I jumped on it because that was a major property, an amazing place, and I wanted to be a part of rebuilding New Orleans. So I took it, but not everybody would have done that. A lot of people looked at me like I was crazy.
Take the risk and
Take the risk.
Just do it.
And what's the worst that could happen? If you fail, those become some of your best lessons. I've certainly failed and had tough times, but you learn from those. At the time, they're terrible and you feel bad. Again, that's where your personal board of directors can come in and help build you up. But you look back on those, and when those doors close, another opens. And one more plug on the negotiation, you deserve to know. Those no's are educating you about where you really stand in the organization. And if there's a gap, either in your own self-awareness and you need to work on something, or how the company views you, that's knowledge, and knowledge is power. You need to know that. So that's the other benefit of negotiating everything. Find out where you're at or how you're viewed. Because giving feedback isn't always a natural thing that comes to people, so you don't always get it. And we all need it.
Yeah. I love
I
this
agree with
self-awareness thing.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So before we go on to the
Yes.
fun stuff, I just want to say thank you, because bringing the Lean In Circles to us, I think is such a powerful thing. And I mean, I wouldn't have met Kate if it weren't for you bringing the Lean In Circles to us. And this is my PIC. And so for me, having that relationship and building that out, and then we went on to, Kate went on to lead the mentorship committee, which led the Lean In Circles. And then I did after that. And so,
Yes, you
so
paid it
for me,
forward.
and we're continuing to do that, and we continue to pay it forward. But I wanted to take a moment and say thank you, because it is such a powerful thing. And I know it probably wasn't easy at the time, and it was such a novel thing that people probably just didn't even understand.
Yes.
And you just kept going for it and kept trying to bring it. And it's such a meaningful thing to watch Lean In Circles now, and the power of what they do for people in our industry and even outside our industry. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Awesome. And people have asked me, how do you give back? How do you pull other women up that ladder as we're all going? Because that's what we all want to see. It's a great way to do it. Moderate, join a Lean In Circle. Again, if the first one's not a match, that's fine.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul. Try another one. Sometimes there's chemistry that's got to be there. But when it's there, it's magic. And these will be lifelong people and friends that you'll have.
Yeah, definitely stamp on our industry and this organization. Like, you know, you have a history not just to bring yourself and what it is, but grow the rest of us at the same time. So huge thank you for coming out and doing this with us. We're super excited. We love GGW's advisory board and kind of what they're doing and how they're helping to continue to guide everybody. So appreciate your continued participation, even though your semi-retirement is not very...
There's
not very busy at all, right?
Nothing
Yeah.
semi-retired about that. Nothing.
I'm not bored.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up and we're gonna have a little fun. So at the end of every episode, we do a little rapid fire question, and we did rapid fire personality. So we're doing a little personality hype. So we generally just answer short, quick answer, and then go around and then and then see what we're all about. So are you?
Sometimes
you
they're
ready?
not short
Let's
answers,
do it.
and that's okay. Just
okay.
if you've got a story, throw it out there, because you've got some gems so
Listen,
far
I'm
today,
from
so.
Chicago. They call it the Windy City for a reason. We're long-winded. Okay, good.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's an awesome.
Well, and Chicago politics. The politicians
There's like a whole.
long-winded. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. First question. I'm gonna start with Lauren. Actually, so name the one person that knows you best.
My sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, my sister.
Yeah.
Easy.
There's your personal board of director right there.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And knows where the bodies are buried.
Yeah. Oh, she does.
How about you, Eileen?
I'm going my husband, Richard.
Yeah.
He knows everything, like things he should not know.
Yeah.
But I'm very fortunate and lucky. I mean, he's my best friend and my husband.
Me too. I'm going to say the exact same. Adam is like my number one fan.
Yeah.
He wears like, my wife is my whatever. He wears ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
he wears
cheers
it with
you on.
pride, which is awesome.
Yes.
And I think we're really, the support system is so important. So thank you to our husbands and sisters and moms and everybody else out there. So, okay. This is my favorite question because I have no idea what I'm going to say. So Eileen, what is your spirit animal?
Oh my goodness. Now I'm thinking about all my friends that will hold me honest if I change it. Frog. I don't know why. There's actually a hilarious story about one of my best friends because I collect frogs. They were in my office. I became a new boss of now a person who's like one of my closest friends. And she told everyone in the office I was super religious, which I am mildly religious, but not super. And she said, it's fully rely on God. She's a very
frog.
spiritual
The frog.
woman, the frog.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, we joke about it now because I have my own spiritual, but it's not necessarily of a religious vein. So it makes me laugh. So it's a frog. I have a frog tattoo.
Oh, wow. Okay. See, we're learning.
And I'm
we're
afraid
getting
of
deep
needles.
now.
I'm afraid of needles. So if I did not properly identify the frog, I would be kind of a fraud.
Yeah. I'm impressed with you. You stepped out the box and got
a
a tattoo
tattoo.
when you're afraid of needles.
Yes. Yeah, and it is 5 colors. I mean, it was not yeah.
Good for you.
I never did it again, and it'll never be touched up. So it's more of a bullfrog now, but at the time.
I feel the same way about mine. Never going back. Don't
Did it-
care.
Did it once.
Yep.
Yep.
Been there, done that.
Conquered,
Check that box.
conquered that fear.
Okay, tattoos are not your spirit animal. What is your spirit animal, Lauren?
So I've had a second to think about this, and I what's what's Stitch? That animal, that thing.
Isn't he like an alien or something?
Or koala?
I don't know, whatever he is. But then
Stitch.
I was gonna say Kate, but like it's like your earring game and like your blazer game, like you're always on point. Like partly you, but also partly the thing from Lilo and Stitch. Stitch is wild.
Stitch.
Yeah. It's
I
so
love
funny
that.
that you say that because I instantly thought of a movie too. And I feel like, have you ever seen Moana with that chicken?
Yes.
Where like it just runs into
Yes.
Hey.
Hey, I feel like
Yes.
that is my spirit animal. And
Yes.
I don't know why we went straight to cartoons. That's what we do.
I
We're
love
both,
it.
I
Went
don't
to
know.
Disney movies.
Listen,
and-
this is a great icebreaker for your team. You triggered when I once asked everybody, what Disney character would you be? And then I have amazing assistant Cheryl Gross, who's here with Light and Wonder. She's a legend. She bought them all T-shirts. So we each set our character. Mine was Cruella because I just love the outfits. She's a badass. So she got us all, including me, Cruella. And then we did a team meeting on Zoom. We all had to wear our Disney characters. So you would be Stitch.
Oh, I love
Who would you
that.
be?
The
hey,
weird
hey.
chicken.
The chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, you just told.
The hey.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, we'll
I'm getting you a hey, hey
you're
shirt.
getting shirts. Yeah. Be ready for the next podcast with random shirts.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
So fun.
Next question. Okay, so this one is very telling because, speaking of husbands, this is my favorite question for him. Lauren, if something in your house breaks, what is the first thing that you do?
I called my home warranty.
That's very straightforward.
Well, I mean, it's for real. I mean, you have to get it fixed, and they're there to fix it.
That's true. That's very true. That's very logical. How about you?
I call Richard. In fact, I call him Fix It Felix, another character. Like he's
character.
an engineer and he can fix anything. He
So he's
builds
got a skill
cars
set.
and boats and things. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's highly skilled.
So he
And
really
free.
should be doing that
I'm
stuff.
very
And,
cheap.
and
He's
she said, "I'm free."
Everyone knows I'm very cheap. So like, if you get in house,
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And the reason I asked this because my husband, I cannot call Adam. Let me tell you, because he can't fix a rubber band if it's like broken, right? What I do is I Google it and I try and fix
So
it myself,
smart.
which
So
is
smart.
I
I
don't
should
know.
do
And then sometimes I screw it up even more.
I
but
probably should do that.
No.
Yeah,
I
you gotta be
probably
careful.
should Google first.
that's what
next
my
time-
kids do. My kids are more skilled. I mean, they do that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's awesome. How'd you learn how to fix that dryer? They're like, we Googled it.
My
Yeah,
husband's pretty good
it's great.
surface level stuff. Like he can fix like the basics, but when it gets deep into things, no offense, Keith, I love you, but we're calling the home
Yeah,
warranty.
make a call. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Okay, here's another one that really is telling about both our age and our personalities here. Eileen, who was your favorite, or no, not your favorite, your first celebrity crush?
That's a good one. First, it's got to be Johnny Depp. Because when you said favorite, I was thinking TV show, which was a tie between the show Hotel, because I loved hotels when I was a little.
You're really ingrained
and then,
there.
Yeah, and then 21 Jump Street. Like I remember literally getting in a very bad fight with my parents, and I never had fights with them. And it was over, we didn't have DVRs and you couldn't tape. So it was like, if you missed 21 Jump Street, like that was a terror for me. And so like as a teenager with hormones rage, I remember screaming at them. So it would be Johnny Depp.
I think people say he's still a legend, actually. I would say a lot of people still agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Okay, so I thought a lot about this, and Jonathan Taylor Thomas from Home Improvement.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
Thanks for judging me.
Was he one of the kids? I don't
Yeah,
even know who that is.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, he
one
was
of
like the
kids?
middle
Okay.
kid. He was
Okay.
the middle kid.
He was super cute, and he had perfect,
Super cute.
perfect hair. I remember the wave, the hay.
I mean, I
Yeah.
assume this is an age appropriate. So at that time, that was
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, I'm like,
He was
oh.
super cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the same
Sweet.
thing about like Saved by the Bell, the Zach guy from Saved.
Oh,
he
that
was like my
probably
first
would have been
reaction.
my other.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go probably toss up there.
Yeah, that one's hard. Well, there's so many options.
Thanks for judging me on my
I did
answer.
It was a small snort. It wasn't even like a real laugh. Okay,
It's honest.
just so we can bring it back a little bit and get real. I think one thing we talked about personality wise is how we ground ourselves. So Eileen, What ritual helps calm yourself down? Like, what's something that you do to calm yourself down?
Actually, it's funny. It's the Calm app. I'm a huge fan. I mean, I had it for years where it was free. Now it's paid, and I definitely do the paid subscription. I mean, when my son was younger, we would do it together. We'd listen to sleep stories. We'd do some meditations. I've never been a good long meditator, but they have a few 5-10 minutes, and I'm out. I mean, it's a great tool. So that's what I do.
I've heard that from a ton of people. And I actually went to a session last night where breathing, they were teaching you how to breathe.
Yep.
So that's my new one. I'm going to go with it.
Yes.
Just taking 5 seconds to ground yourself almost like in breathing. I think that's a good one. How about
Powerful.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit on the lines of Eileen. So the Peloton app has great meditation programs. And if you go in there, you search like whatever you're feeling, you can find a meditation based on that. So like a happiness meditation or an acceptance meditation or and whatever's happening in your life, you can pick something to that. And I find that does. And like you said, the quick like 5-10 minute, like just whatever it takes just to take a minute just to breathe, like those are the best things for me.
And their voices are so good.
Yeah.
They just
I like
are
when they're British.
hypnotizing. Yes, I love all the international dialects.
All right, last question. We're having way too much fun. Last question. Okay, Lauren, if you had to pick one word to describe yourself, what would it be?
I'm going to go sassy.
I would agree with that.
Okay, thanks.
In a very positive way. I'm going to tell you, you can't say bossy. So,
I know you can't say
no
bossy.
repeats. I'm going to go funny.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think
Most
I
of my
agree.
friends tell me I bring a lot of humor to them, and again, I don't take myself seriously, and so I love other funny people. I think I'm funny, so yeah, I'm going funny
Yeah, I'd vote funny for you.
and funny looking.
No.
No.
We don't do that.
Wrong.
Well, let's be funny because my word is easy. I am easy, but not that way.
Easy going.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's like really. I mean, I could
I
do
love
whatever, be whatever, anytime, any place. I'm all about, except for jumping out of a plane. We learned that earlier. That's not my thing. But yeah, I think it's great. So I love that we talked so much about personalities. I love that we talked so much about your history, which brings the people that you've interacted with. And it's been great to get to know you and really appreciate again everything that you've done for us and everything that you've done for the industry. And we're gonna continue to follow along all of your semi-retired journey here. And yeah, thank you so much. We're looking forward to seeing you around and really appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you for having me, and hats off to you guys again. Big fan of the podcast and what you guys are doing, paying it forward every day. Thanks.
Thank
Legend.
you.
Okay, Legend episode over. Thanks, Lauren.